Farming is probably just about the worst profession that you can do. I mean, think about it. You spend all of your time working out a field and shit, and you just have to hope that all of your work isn't ruined by bad weather or pests or some shit. So naturally, a group of developers decided to create a game where you are a farmer. And there's some other shit you can do too, I guess. And they called it Harvest Moon. Then, 20 years later, some dickheads associated with cucklefish decided to more or less completely steal that idea and call it Stardew Valley instead. Albeit with some delightfully overused pixel graphics that you can find on just about any indie title on Steam. As mentioned, Stardew Valley is a farming management weird RPG of sorts, where you inherit your dead-ass grandfather's farm in some tiny shithole of a village, and you're expected to have the wasteland turn into productive land, and also to be friends with all the fuckbags that live in the nearby town. Initially, you get to create your own avatar, which can have either suspenders or one of the 500 t-shirts that all look the same, and you can pick the type of farm you inherit, a normal one, a water one, and some other shit too. The game gives you a bunch of different things to do once you set out. You can focus on cutting back the wilderness on your farm and turn it into profitable land, you can go out and forage a bunch of plants and shit, or you can go mining and kill slimes and shit. You are also allowed to pursue a number of the local bachelors and bachelorettes that are present in the town by throwing flowers and shit at them until they like you enough. But you're only allowed to throw 2 flowers at them a week, because any more than that would obviously just be a little bit weird. I almost wanted to stop playing the game after the very first quest is given to you to go and greet everyone in the town, because I just couldn't fucking find some of the people. All of the NPCs have very specific locations and movement around the map depending on the season, the weather, and whether or not they had enough fucking wheat bix for breakfast that morning. It also allows you to decide the fate of the town by choosing to either side with those little mystical apple fucks in the old rundown town hall, or by going with the soulless mega corporation that open up down the road. Obviously, only one of these choices is viable without making you feel like a complete dickbag. There is a lot of collection aspect to this game which at times feels very tedious, particularly when you're trying to fill in all the little tablet things in the old town hall. A big issue I had with this game is that it's a little bit too grindy. I guess it's hard to criticize it for this considering it's a farming sim and half of an RPG too, but it was never really mind-blowingly fun. The most fun I had with this game was probably the fishing. The fishing was good, the minigame was challenging enough to keep it fun, but pretty much everything else, the farming, chopping, mining, it was all pretty lame. Not to mention those fucking bee things in the mines. Fuck those guys. To be fair, I guess farming in real life is a bit of a grind too, but I do feel like the grindiness of this game makes the progression seem really slow. And I never got around to filling out all those things in the town hall or really getting super far into the game before I just got bored of playing it. Going back to an original point, the art style is pixels, which isn't really innovative and it's exactly what you'd expect from a Steam indie title, but the sprite work is nice, as are the character portraits. The dialogue and story for this game is good enough, albeit a little simple, but I don't feel that the simplicity of the storyline had any impact on how much I enjoyed this game. A lot of the characters seemed a little shallow, however, and I didn't really care for anyone living in the town much at all. I also feel that this game doesn't really have a whole lot of replayability, as the start of the game is really slow and I'd be hesitant to start playing the game from the beginning again. I feel perhaps this game just isn't quite for me either. A lot of this game just left me feeling underwhelmed. Although I do enjoy fairly grindy and long-winded games for the most part, I just feel like whatever was waiting for me at the end wasn't quite worth it. Which ties into my final point. There is something really wrong about this game. Something that ensures I will never go back to playing this game ever again. They didn't put any whoopers in it. Really? No whoopers? Come the fuck on, cucklefish. I expected better even from you. This game allows you to have boring ass animals and stuff on your farm, but not whoopers. Why? Whoopers produce plenty of useful products, like, water. You gonna tell me Africa couldn't use a few of them? So you're racist now too, huh? Instead of a cat or a dog for a pet, I wanted a fucking whooper. But apparently that was just too much to ask. And now you're gonna bring this shit out on the Switch too? How fucking dare you put it to a Nintendo console without having whoopers in it? For shame. In general, the game was just too much of a grind for me to really be enjoyable. But that grind might have been worth it if a whooper was there, shining at the end of the tunnel. Alas, there fucking wasn't. Cucklefish, give me a Steam workshop for this game so I can have whooper mods right now. Because that's about the only thing that can save this game. And until then, your game is unplayable fucking garbage. So yeah, fuck you.